Good morning, Brick Hollow third graders. We are on lesson 16 in Connected and Respected. This is our last lesson. Our lesson this week is called Concepts of Peace. For our gathering, it's called I Love To. You're going to share things that you really like to do. I'd like you to just think for a moment about the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the sentence, I love to. So if I was part of your group today, I would start my sentence with, I love to read. Every student go around and finish that sentence, I love to, and make sure that you're working on active and respectful listening. Agenda check. We've been working hard all year to develop the skills we need to be strong and kind and to make our class and the world a better place. Today, we will talk about how these skills help us reach an important goal. We'll start by making a web and talking about the word peace. Then we'll define peace and talk more in depth about the definition. You'll have a chance to talk with a partner about a time you felt peaceful. Then in our debriefing, we'll look back on what we did and learned today. We'll close our lesson by describing a peaceful place. Teachers, for our first activity called Peace Web, if you will, write the word peace on your board or on a piece of chart paper and draw a circle around it. Students, what comes to mind when you think of peace? Teachers, go ahead and record your students' responses and group related ideas together. Once everybody's finished adding to the web, if you will review and summarize what the class came up with. Our second activity is called Dynamic Peace. Students, think of exciting, fun things to do. Teachers, you can list this on the board or on chart paper. Teacher, as you come up with the list, go ahead and discuss each item on the list. Students, be thinking about that word peace. Our goal is to try to come up with an example of peaceful things. So what things about the activities that you have listed are peaceful? What about them is not peaceful? How could it be done in a way that would make it more peaceful? So for example, if you're traveling on an airplane alone for the first time, might be considered peaceful if you made a new friend along the way. Or even if you were scared along the way, you might feel peaceful when you got to your destination safely. Or maybe feeling proud that you succeeded to do something that might do something new might be a peaceful feeling. So when you're done talking about each activity and how it's peaceful or the things that are not peaceful about it and how it could be done in a peaceful way, is peace always quiet and restful? If not, what makes an exciting experience also peaceful? Our last activity today is remembering moments of peace. Students, think of a moment of peace that you've experienced. If you can't think of one that maybe you've done, it's okay to make one up or to think of what it would have been peaceful if something would have happened. So close your eyes, students, and imagine that moment of peace. While your eyes are closed, where were you in this moment? What colors did you see? What shapes? What sounds did you hear? What smells? Were you alone or were other people there with you? If there were other people, did you know them? Who were they? What were you doing? So now think about that peaceful moment as if it were a story. The story should include where you were, who you were with if you were not alone, and what you were doing. Teachers, go ahead and have your students divide into groups or into pairs, and then take turns sharing their story with a partner. Our debriefing. So teachers, you could have some students volunteer to share their story. And then today we talked about peace and how it can be found in many different places and ways. Does anyone have an idea of how they would define peace? What can we do in our class to help us experience more moments of peace? I'm hoping you're coming up with active listening, assertive responses, win-win solutions, acknowledging and accepting and respecting differences. Those are all a creation of peace. Finally, our closing, a peaceful place. Students, we're going to go around and I want you to think, if you could go to a peaceful place today, where would you go? And if I were with you, I would say without traveling and I was in my house, my peaceful place would be my couch right here in front of my Christmas tree. Or if I got to travel, I would think a beach in Jamaica. It was very, very peaceful and would allow me to read. I hope you all have a terrific week. We only have 4.5 days left until our Christmas break, so I hope we are all working on being kind and earning those beaver bucks and bucket fillers. Can't wait to see you around in the building.